welcome back to my channel. It has been a while. I thought that we could have a bit of a chat. I've just made a coffee, as you've just seen, and yeah, talk about where this channel will be going in 2025. So if you've been following me for a while, you will know that I have taken a long break from YouTube, and that's for a few different reasons, but the main reason being that I initially started my channel kind of a bit about everything about my life, about knitting and crocheting, which I was very big into at the time, and also about my weight loss. And over time, it all just started to focus too much on my weight loss, and when I wasn't seeing the results that I wanted to see, it really got to me, and I needed to take a step back from that. I was also watching a lot of What I Eat in a Day videos, which I started watching those a few years ago now, probably 4 years ago. It was probably around 2020 when we couldn't go out basically. And at first, when I was watching those videos, I found them very helpful, because if you're on a certain plan, or if you're trying to cut back on your calories or whatever, it's always good to see what other people are doing to get ideas. But it kind of developed way more than that into obsessing over food, and it wasn't a good place to be. So I knew that I couldn't keep doing those videos, and it also kind of got really repetitive as well. I was finding that because I was going into doing those videos more and more and more, it was too much, and those were the only videos I was filming, they were the only videos I was really watching, and it just completely overtook my life in a way that food really shouldn't. If food should just be, you know, what you're thinking about at meal times, maybe when you're planning your meals, and then that should be it. And I was thinking about food in some way or another literally all the time, and so that was my main reason for giving YouTube a break. I was also starting a new job. It's been around a year now. I've been in my new job for about a year, and it's been a lot to learn, and it's also been a much busier role than what I have had previously in the last couple of years. So there was a big shift in my availability as well. So that was why I put YouTube on the back burner for a little bit. I'm pleased to say that my relationship with food has become much healthier again, and I don't intend on filming What I Eat in a Day videos. I don't watch them anymore. I don't watch videos that overly talk about calories anymore. I look for recipes, but I don't necessarily I don't watch them very often. It's if I am looking for a certain recipe, or if I'm in the mood for a certain type of recipe, I will then go and search for one. I am not just sitting around watching What I Eat in a Day videos and watching people cook for, you know, just to fill a gap of time. I didn't realise how much taking that step back was needed. I've also changed my Instagram. So the Instagram that I was using was just absolutely flooded. The algorithm on that was just showing me diet stuff constantly, no matter who I unfollowed or what I then went and followed. The algorithm was so used to giving me diet content that it was really hard to get away from that. So I started an entire new Instagram account, completely dedicated to my hobbies basically, and that is kind of where I am headed at the moment, and only sort of going online on social media looking at hobby stuff rather than at specific lifestyle stuff. I still watch a little bit of lifestyle stuff here and there, but it's really not much in comparison to what I was doing, and I did find it quite damaging. So I mentioned before that when I first started this channel, a lot of it was to do with knitting and crocheting, and that has evolved because of my availability, I would say, to spend time on hobbies. I'd love to still be sitting around knitting and crocheting now, but I just don't have the time to do it. I'm a very slow knitter and crocheter anyway. I like my stitches to be as perfect as possible, and that means that with the limited time that I have, I really don't get much done, and it kind of leads to the feeling of not achieving anything. And yeah, it's not where I am at the moment. So this last year or so, actually, I have started to really read more books, and that's been great. I've really noticed that by reading more books, I have become a much calmer person. I can switch off with a book much easier than I can with any other hobby. And I've also got back into gaming a little bit. I've always played games since I was like a teenager, and obviously I don't have a great deal of time to spend on it now, but I've got a daughter who's 5 and she's just sort of getting into gaming, so I've been playing little bits with her as and when we've got time, basically, and it's been really nice, actually. It's been a different experience playing games with your daughter, but it's been really, really lovely and a good reminder as to why I enjoyed it in the first place. So today is the 8th of January, and obviously at the end of the year everyone has that kind of reflection period of how the last year went and what's going on in the coming year, that kind of stuff. And I was looking through my phone, looking at, you know, the pictures and videos and stuff that we have done all this last year, and I was really surprised to see, with the food obsession that I was talking about before specifically, I had so many pictures of food on my camera, on my feed, on my phone. It was full of screenshots, it was full of photos that I'd taken of my meals for no apparent reason. And I think that was a habit that I got into because of Instagram. So when I first started, not when I first started using Instagram, but for a long time I used Instagram to hold me accountable, and I would take photos of my food and upload it to there, and it got way too much. And I was shocked at when I stopped filming these YouTube videos and when I swapped my Instagram account over, and I don't follow anything diet or food related on those at all. Once I took that away from myself, I was no longer looking at food, I was no longer taking pictures of food. It just became something that if we went out for a meal, I would enjoy it at the time and then it would be gone and I wouldn't think about it anymore, and I wouldn't be thinking about food after that either, until obviously the next time I would eat. And I really noticed that at the end of the year when I was looking through my photos, basically. So you might be thinking, where is this video going? What are we talking about? And I am currently 20 weeks pregnant, so I am having another baby in May. So that's pretty exciting stuff. But I also know that I know myself, I know from my previous pregnancy and the maternity leave that I had as well, I'm really looking forward to it, but I know that I do struggle with not having anything of my own to do, and that is kind of where I'm at now. And I am definitely winding down with work, so a lot of my deadline based work has been shifted to other people, and I'm doing just a more relaxed sort of set of work basically to what I was doing before, because the work that I was doing was quite stressful, so that needed to change during my pregnancy basically. And now that we are in a new year as well, because the job that I have been doing gets really busy November, December time, so now that that time has gone, I'm pretty sure that from now until I go on maternity leave, I'm just going to be winding down basically, and there's not going to be as much to do as there has been. So with that in mind, I definitely want to start on YouTube again. I have got a couple of goals for the new year. No New Year's resolutions, but my main goal for the new year is to get back into proper cooking, because I have not lost my love for cooking, but I've kind of lost my love for cooking from scratch, and I really want to get back into it. It's a combination of kind of wanting to not look at any of, like, you know, the recipe content and that sort of stuff, and, you know, what are people eating, that kind of thing. I've completely wanted to take myself away from that, but it's also as well because I do have a 5-year-old, and we have gone through that phase of not wanting to eat a great deal of different foods. So yeah, that has been quite tough, and I'm really glad that we're kind of past that now. And she's still a little bit, you know, I wouldn't say fussy. She's not a fussy eater at all. She will try things, but if something doesn't look appetizing to her, she's automatically switched off. So there are certain meals that she just doesn't like the look of and won't really entertain, but she started to actually try things a bit more now, and she's got a bit more of an open mind. So I'm really happy with that, and I'm happy with getting her eating a bit more variation, I'd say. I was going to say fresh foods that I create, but she does eat fresh foods that I create, but she has certain safe meals that she's happy with. But now she's definitely, I think it's from starting school as well, so she's in year 1 at school now, and we have made sure that she has the meals at school purely so that she tries different things. And I think that's really helped as well. Obviously she sees her little friends sitting there eating certain foods, and I think that's been really good for her. So in the new year, I really want to get back to cooking and kind of meal prepping my own meals. And one thing that I have decided to set as an actual goal, I saw this in Aldi in the middle aisle and I had to grab it. So it is a proper recipe book, and there's loads of different sections in here. It's really beautiful actually. There's stickers included with it. There's all these different sections on the side. So we've got starters and snacks, mains, desserts, baking and seasonal. And I think that was only £3 or £4, and I thought that is absolutely what I need. It's really sweet actually looking through it. You've got literally a space to put everything. But I have wanted to write down my recipes for a while, because I've got quite a lot of recipes that I found on Pinterest, and there's a couple of recipes that I really enjoy making on Pinterest, but I don't make them as often as I would like to, because it just doesn't cross my mind to, and then having to search for the recipe on my phone all the time, it's a bit of a pain. And I wanted to get my favourite recipes that I found online, on Pinterest, through Weight Watchers and Slimming World. I wanted to get everything that I have tried, tested, and the family approve of as well into that recipe book. And then I have got my recipe index full of things that I know that we all like. When I'm feeling like I don't know what I'm going to cook, I can look through my recipe book and go, oh yeah, that sounds like a great idea. I don't know about you guys, but Pinterest is great, but it is flooded with things that I have never tried. And I look at it and I think, I understand why I've pinned that, but also I don't think that we would ever eat it. So yeah, I think it would be a really good thing for me to start doing that. So that is part of my goals for the year, and I also want to share that with you guys as well. I want to go through those recipes, write them in there, and also cook them probably with you guys, create a video for all of my favourite recipes as well. One thing that I'd really like to do on this channel as well is just do like a series of basic British recipes. And this has stemmed from me watching a lot of American vloggers and Weight Watcher people. And for example, me watching them try and make a cottage pie is absolutely heartbreaking to me, and that sounds really bad, but yeah, I always think, oh, you know, when I was doing these videos before, I would stop myself from making videos like that, because I was like, oh, everyone knows how to make a cottage pie or a spag bol, that kind of thing. And I was like, well, I've seen enough people trying to make a cottage pie, and it isn't as what we would have. So I really want to sort of take it back to the basics, have a series of basic British foods, how to make them, and yeah, share my love for my recipes as well. So because my baby is due in May as well, my year is probably gonna have kind of like it's gonna be a tale of two halves basically. So I'm gonna be focused on kind of relaxing, getting things done this side of the year, and then once I've recovered after birth and I've got into a new routine, I will be looking at, you know, getting out, being more physically active again, and also sort of getting back to the kind of like the weight loss stuff, but in a healthy way. And moving forward, I don't want to share updates about how I'm doing on that or anything really that's talking about it other than from a recipe point of view. So if I find a recipe that I really, really like, I would definitely want to share that with you guys. I'd like to create a video on how to make it, but I'm not going to be sitting around talking about I've lost X amount of pounds this week, I'd like to lose 20 pounds, 30 pounds, whatever it is. I don't want to discuss it, and that's just because I don't want to go down that rabbit hole again. Potentially, if for example I set myself a goal of losing 20 pounds, if I do manage to lose those 20 pounds, I might then discuss it briefly once to say sort of this is how I did it, but I wouldn't be talking about it in depth at all. And I hope that is all okay with you guys as well. Obviously, some people have subscribed here purely for like the weight loss related content, and I completely get it. If you do want to move on, that's absolutely fine. I just really want to adapt my channel and focus more on the hobbies that I enjoy doing. I'm going to have more time coming up to actually focus on these hobbies. And one thing I really want to do as well actually is I want to, when I get to the, that's my dog on the bed, when I get to the point of packing my hospital bag, I really want to share what I am packing in my hospital bag, because with this being my second baby, I am looking at it in a completely different way to how I looked at it the first time round. So the first time round we had bought so much stuff, a ridiculous amount of stuff, to be honest with you. There was so many clothes that she either only wore something once or she never wore stuff. We were having to give stuff away, and the hospital bag that I packed was absolutely insane, the amount of stuff that I took with me. It was almost like we were thinking we were moving into the hospital for about 2 weeks, and obviously I want to do that differently this time. So that is one video that I definitely want to create this year. I think that those sorts of videos are very helpful to people, and especially with it being the second baby, I have the experience. I know what we used, what we didn't use, how much of what we needed to take, and I think it'll be a useful video basically. So there won't be a crazy amount of baby content here. Obviously it is going to be part of my life, so you might see baby stuff hanging around occasionally, but for the most part I'm going to keep that separate and just focus on my hobbies basically. And this is going to become a place of sharing my favourite things rather than specifically my life, and I hope that makes sense. I also should say that we have been incredibly unwell, so if I look particularly bad in this video, that is why. We are definitely recovering now. As I said, it is the 8th of January today, and we came down with this illness the day after Boxing Day, so the 27th of December, and we're still like this basically. I'm okay in myself, but I'm still resting as much as I can while still getting out and getting, you know, my steps in a gentle way. Yeah, it's been brutal, to be honest with you, this illness. I'm pretty sure it has been the flu. I don't think that I think if it was a cold, it would have already passed by now and it wouldn't have been as bad as it was. But I might be looking like this just for a little while, basically. Very aware that my voice might sound different to normal because I am still congested, so please bear with me with that. Please also ignore the mess here. Basically, our wardrobe is broken at this point, and all of these drawers they've got stuff hanging out of them, but they don't move anymore. They have completely disintegrated basically, and we are going to replace that shortly. We've got a big list of things to do before this baby comes, and that is on the list. So I've basically got a Kallax unit over here which is used for bits and bobs, but those bits and bobs can be whittled down and we can get rid of stuff that we never touch, haven't used for years, and yeah, we're just going to have a bit of a declutter, move some furniture around, that kind of stuff. And I'm hoping that because this Kallax unit is quite a lot smaller than that wardrobe, it'll be a much better area over there. But also, you know, the boxes that you can get in Kallax units, I'm pretty sure that we'll get an awful lot of clothes in there as well. So I think it'll be a better way of storing our clothes as well in the future. So to recap, basically what you can expect from me this year is I am definitely going to be getting back into YouTube, so I'm really happy about that. I want to specifically create specific videos, so no longer kind of the lifestyle stuff, in which I kind of got to the point as well where, because we're sharing lifestyle stuff, you could share everything, and I found myself creating the same videos over and over again, and I don't want to do that anymore. I want to focus on, like I said, my hobbies, the things that I want to share, the things that I think will be of value to other people during the stage of life that I'm at. And I also just want to give myself something to do, because like I said, I know that I struggle if I don't have any goals, if I don't have anything to focus on at all. And I know obviously there will be a baby, I'm going to be busy, but I'd like to still give myself something to do. And I still like to, like, even if I sit down and talk to you guys for 10 minutes a week, I'd still like to do that, just to give myself something to do basically. And I hope that's okay with you guys. I think that's pretty much everything that I had to talk about. I feel like I've just waffled for the last half an hour at you guys. And yeah, I hope that you're all very well. I hope that everyone that I've made friends with on here is doing good. I know some of you came and followed me over on my new Instagram, so that's been lovely as well. We've been able to stay in touch. But for those of you who don't use Instagram, I hope that you're all doing really, really well, and I'm looking forward to this new year of change, but new year of good change. And I'm definitely in a much better place to be sharing the things that I want to share online. I'm going to head off now. I have got my 20-week scan in 2 hours, so I need to prepare for that. I need to, basically we've got a really, really frosty day today as well, so I want to make sure I leave nice and early, because it might be slippery outside, so I want to be literally doing baby steps to make sure that I don't slip over. And I have to go to a hospital that's slightly further away now as well. Just need to leave myself plenty of time for travel, and I also need to drink lots of water, which I need to start doing in the next half an hour or so. I'm looking forward to this new year, looking forward to spending time with you all again, and I really hope that you're well, and I hope that you will join me in my videos that will be coming very, very soon.